Hi there, just to say this is a short snippet from this week's main episode, which was published on Wednesday as always. If you want the full episode, you can find it just below this one. Part of this paradigm is recognizing that there is an objective world, but it's so vast that we can't possibly experience it all. And so we only know a finite part of life. We only know a finite part of everything there is to know or experience or interact with or engage with. Now, even when our realities do crisscross, even when we are experiencing the same, talking about the same subject, or we've experienced the same thing as another person, our psychology is so different from that of other people that basically we interpret and view and experience that same phenomenon very differently from other people. You could even say that the phenomenon isn't the same for two people, because by the time we filtered it and by the interpreted it and it's gone through the filter of our psychology, it ends up very different. Another part of this is that all this input we receive from this finite part of the world that we experience, it all goes into who we are. It goes into our worldviews and our values and our sense of self and so on. And it shapes who we are. And in this sense, we're sort of like empty vessels that contain and express the finite part of reality that we engage with. And you can actually sort of see this and hear it and feel it in other people when you're around them. You can sort of get a handle on what their life is like just by seeing who they are and getting a handle on their character. Another part of it is that it's almost like we're all wearing VR headsets as we live life, or as though we're walking around inside an invisible bubble. It's like we're all playing the same game, but not really. We're playing we're playing a game in objective reality, but because our subjective worlds are so different, it's almost like the game is different itself. Another point is that you understand other people and judge them and evaluate them and try and understand them by filtering them through your own subjective experience of life, through your own little world. In this way, you don't see them as they are. You don't get a handle on what their subjective world is like. And you basically judge them in a very self-biased way. It's like you evaluate their usefulness to you or how much they fit who you are, and then you sort of discard them because they don't seem interesting to you. Now, listen, when I'm talking about we all live in our own world, I'm not saying that insanity doesn't exist. I'm not saying that everything is true, that the earth is flat, that truth is 100% subjective, and that we can think reality into existence. That's not what I'm saying. It's a lot more subtle than that. So have some subtlety here and don't jump to these very, gross conclusions about how things work. I'll also say that there are levels to our subjective world. Our idea of what the world is and how we live that world, it grows and changes as we ourselves grow and change. So it's subjective, but there's also structure to it, and there's also kind of a deeper wisdom here. And as you grow and change, your worldview and your own little world grows, and it becomes much more refined and much more human, much based on higher values and so on. So there is a directionality to it, and actually our own world has been evolving ever since we were born. Hi there, just to say this is a short snippet from this week's main episode, which was published on Wednesday as always. If you want the full episode, you can find it just below this one.